welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Kyla and I have a huge book haul for you. I think my last book haul was like 5 or 6 months ago, which is just crazy. And I have accumulated quite a few books along the way. I've also unhauled a lot of books as well. I actually did an unhaul not too long ago, so I will link that in the cards as well as in the description box for you if you want to check that out. I do still have some books listed on Pango, which will also be in the description in case you want to shop my Pango Bookstore. But today is really about all of the books that I brought in. My goal since the beginning of the year has been to only bring in books that I love, to utilize my library as much as possible to read books first so that I know that I love them, and then if I do love them, bring them into my collection if I see fit. I'm actually being like super picky about the books that I bring in because it's just so easy to get carried away, and honestly if I had like infinite space, I would bring in as many books as I wanted to, but I do not have that right now. I only have 2 bookshelves at the moment, which sounds like a lot, and it's plenty of room, but I need to be mindful of what I'm bringing in. So these books are books that I love. There are some that I haven't read yet, so I guess I can't say that fully, but for the most part, these are books that I have read already and loved. I will let you know if I haven't read something. And yeah, enough chatting, let's just get into the haul. So I'm gonna first start with books from Book of the Month. I'm not gonna go over every single book that I've gotten from Book of the Month over the past 6 months, because that's just a little obnoxious, because it is very rare that I get just 1 book in my subscription. Normally I'm getting 2 or 3. That's just how I roll, you know? You can't beat it when the prices are that good. So I have a stack from Book of the Month, ones that I have loved and want to highlight, and then ones I haven't read yet as well. So I'll first start with the thrillers. I have 2 of them. I first have None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell and The Only One Left by Riley Sager. This is one of those scenarios where I was like, you know what? One, I love Riley Sager, so I know I'm gonna want to own this because I have his entire collection. So I'm definitely going to want to add to it. So then in this case, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get it from Book of the Month without getting it from the library first, because I'm a sucker for Riley Sager, okay? Yes, are they hit or miss? Yes. Do I own ones that like I don't necessarily love? Yes, but I love to own his entire collection, so I will continue to do so. So I have this, and then I got None of This Is True. This was one of my most anticipated. I haven't read every Lisa Jewell. I have read this one already, and oh my gosh, this is so good. One of my top thrillers of the year. It's mixed media, which I love, and it's also an unhinged female story, which is just my wheelhouse. And when I saw that those 2 things were going to be in this book, I was like, I'm okay getting it from Book of the Month first and like reading it, and I'm so happy I did, because I freaking love this book so much. So those are the thrillers, and then I do have one horror that I actually haven't read yet, and that is Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. This just came out. I believe this was the October selection, so brand spanking new. It is on my TBR for this month, but I haven't gotten to it yet, and it's already so far into October, so will I get to it this month? I'm not sure, but if not, then it will definitely be November. I have heard nothing but good things about this so far. This is, I believe, a Southern Gothic horror, and like that just sounds right up my wheelhouse. I am very excited to read this one. And then I have 2 fantasies that I have to highlight. I have to, because I am obsessed with them and I need an excuse to talk about them more, and that is Divine Rivals and The Wishing Game. I loved both of these so much. These will definitely be in my top of the year. Obsessed. This one, can't even. This is like You've Got Mail, but make it fantasy and add some war. Do I need to say anything else? I do not think so. And then this one is very much like Lemony Snicket's for adults. Like if you were obsessed with a childhood book series when you were younger, getting the chance to go back as an adult and go like to where the book takes place and meet the author, like childhood dreams come true. Almost like if you were to mix like Lemony Snicket and Willy Wonka, like that that is this book, but so hard-hitting and actually very emotional. This is very healing for the inner child, so I had to highlight both of these, and I'm so happy to have them in my collection. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. So those are all of my book of the month books. Like I said, yes, I did get more, but those are the ones that I absolutely need to highlight and that I would highly recommend to you guys if you haven't checked them out. Next, let's move on to some books that I got secondhand. I do most of my secondhand book shopping on Pango. I also love a good secondhand thrift bookstore, but I haven't been to any recently as I've been trying to be good about not bringing in books like I talked about. So these are ones that I specifically sought out after reading them. There is one in here that I haven't read, but oh my god, specifically ones that I sought out afterwards because I loved them that much. The first one is The Dead in the Dark by Courtney Gould. I am obsessed with this cover. Absolutely stunning, and this is one of my top YA horrors of the year. I freaking love this book so much, and it's not talked about enough. I know it's a few years old, but personally, I don't see this anywhere, and I really do think it should be talked about more because it is amazing. The writing is gorgeous. It doesn't read super YA, and it's one of those books where the horror is actually horror, and I love that. Also, it's one of those books that also have really good social commentary as well. It's queer as well, so we have that representation. There's also really good mental health representation in here, and also talks a lot about how small towns can really be suffocating for a lot of people, especially when you're trying to figure out your identity and where you fit in the world. There's just so much packed into this, and it really needs to be talked about more. So here I am talking about it more. I freaking love this book so much. So as soon as I read it, I was like, I need a copy of it in my collection. This is just one, too stunning not to own, but also because I loved it that much. Also goes for The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. I read this actually this month, you guys. I read this in October. I did a whole witchy vlog for it, so if you haven't seen it, I will link it in the cards as well as below. But oh my gosh, the second I read it, I was like instant 5 stars, and I need to own a copy of it because I am obsessed with this cover. It is absolutely stunning. The holographic of it is so subtle, but it's gorgeous. I am obsessed with this, and I freaking love this book. It's such a fun, unique witchy story, and it's something that I have never seen done before. It is so unique, and I just love it. The writing is also incredible and has really inspired me to check out more of Shay Earnshaw's backlist because I did not know about her writing, and now that I've read this, I'm absolutely stunning. Need to read more. I know that she has a adult thriller called The History of Wild Places, which I actually didn't even realize was the same author, and I've had that on my TBR forever, so I think going into November, I might check that one out, but regardless, I definitely want to check out more from her, and oh my god. So if you have a Shay Earnshaw that you have enjoyed, please let me know in the comments because I need to definitely read more from her. But oh my gosh, this was just too stunning and too freaking amazing for me not to own a copy, so immediately went to Pango to pick that up. And then the next two are actually from the same author. One of them I have read, the other one I have not. So the one that I've read is Suburban Hell by Maureen Kilmer. I read this over the summer. It was the perfect summer horror. I don't think it necessarily takes place in the summertime, but it just gives that fun popcorn horror that's good to read any time of year. So I read this during the summer, actually on my summer vacation, and it was a blast. I had a great time. Like I said, it's a fun popcorn horror. It's nothing to take too serious, but I had a really good time. So I saw that she was coming out with a new one called Hex Education, and actually I found this on Pango. I was browsing one day and it popped up, and I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I need to own a copy of that for sure. Now, have I read it yet? No, but like I love the cover so much. This purple, and it's witchy, and I just love witchy books, okay? So I have no doubt that I am going to love this. I believe this is going to give similar vibes to this, where we are following like a suburban mom and some shenanigans happen, and I'm here for it. So I haven't gotten to this one yet. It is on my TBR for this month. Will I get to it this month? I don't know. October is flying, okay? There's only so much time, but it definitely will be read really soon, and I can't. I just freaking love it. I freaking love it. So happy that I found that on Pango, even though it is brand new. That was just a steal. Now moving on to books that maybe necessarily weren't a steal, but I just needed to own, and yes, I did go out and buy new. Like I said, this is saved for books that like either authors that I love and are some of my most anticipated, are ones in series that I wanted to continue and own the entire series, or just immediately wanted to own a copy of. So oh my god, where do we even begin? Most of these were from Barnes & Noble. I believe a few were from Amazon. I'm not gonna go over where I got them because you don't really care. I'm just gonna show you the books. So the first one that I have is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I got this to read on my summer vacation because I just figured it's the perfect time to read a romance, and you guys know I'm not really a romance gal, but I did love the Dead Romantics so much that I was like, you know what, whatever she puts out, because her books are not necessarily romance driven. Like, obviously they're romance books. Let me explain this because that made no sense. Her books are romance books, but the romance is almost like a subplot to everything else going on. Very similar to what I've heard is like Abby Jimenez. Like, she does romance as like a side plot, but there are other things happening in her books. I haven't read any Abby Jimenez. Maybe I will. We'll see. But this one, I knew that I was like, I just loved the Dead Romantics so much that I wanted to check it out. And there's so much more going on in these than just the romance, and I just love that. They're really stories of family and grief and navigating life as a young woman, and I just love her writing so much. I love her storytelling, and the romance is cute, okay? Like, I'm here for it. There's always a little bit of a fantastical element to them, where the Dead Romantics, I'm just gonna let you assume what happens in that. And this one, we have a little bit of time travel going on. So there's also that element to it. And as a fantasy gal, I can really appreciate that. So decided to pick this one up. And then I have some of my most anticipated books of the year that I knew I wanted to own immediate copies of. The first one is In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. I don't really need to say anything. I just freaking love TJ Klune's writing so much, and the way he does found family is unmatched to anyone that I have ever read before. Found family is my favorite trope, ever. I am obsessed with it. In this one, it's robots, and it's just a cute family story. I love it, but make it robots. And fun fact, I'm actually a little afraid of robots, if I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, there's something about robots that actually skeeves me out quite a bit. Here we have a robot vacuum cleaner, too cute, and then a robot nurse with she is just the most sarcastic, straightforward, a bit naughty, sexual naughty, and it's hilarious. So, I mean, I couldn't fault it for that. And yeah, I loved this. I had a great time. And then I have Foxglove, which is the sequel to Belladonna. I read Belladonna earlier this year and absolutely fell in love. You're probably sick of me talking about it by now because I have talked about that book so much. I've raved about it. I have convinced people to read it, and every single time I see that someone is reading it, I'm like, oh my god, I need to talk about it. Someone else to talk about this book with because I am genuinely obsessed with it. This is the sequel, and I loved this. Not as much, but I still absolutely loved it. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was a great sequel. There is going to be a third book, and you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be picking that one up as well, because look at these freaking covers. They are absolutely incredible. And also, this is the Barnes & Noble edition. And underneath the dust jacket, are you kidding me? Like, and there's also end papers. You can't. I own the Belladonna one like this as well, so I wanted to like keep going in my collection and get the same edition for each one. I was at Barnes & Noble the day this came out. They hadn't even put it out yet, and I was like, excuse me, where is this? I need it immediately. So happy to pick this up. Obsessed. Loved it. And then I have, I mean, pretty much everyone's like rave book of the year. If you've read it, you know. And that's Fourth Wing. I don't have a special edition of this one. This is just a regular copy because I was behind the times. I did not know, okay? I did not know. And then I read it, and then I was in the know, so I pre-ordered Iron Flame, the pretty copy of Iron Flame. It's not gonna have the stenciling, but they do have sprayed edges, so I think I'm going to like face that one out. But regardless, I mean, I could attempt, I've seen people on TikTok attempting to spray the edges themselves, but like, I would just be so afraid that I would ruin it. So we're just gonna roll with having a standard copy. And that's okay, because people are selling these for ridiculous amounts of money on Pango, and like, no, absolutely not. I'm okay sitting in my normal copy. Ain't nobody got time for that. Anyways, I don't need to say anything about this book. If you read it and you loved it, I'm right there with you. If you read it and you didn't like it, I also understand. Very polarizing read. There's very frustrating things about it. There are some things about it that I didn't like at all, but overall, I just had a great time. I enjoyed this so much. I enjoyed my reading experience of it so much. I didn't know I liked dragons until I read this. I'm not like a Game of Thrones gal, so I wasn't sure going into this if it was really going to be my cup of tea, but like, now I'm a dragon fan, so, I mean, who knew, right? Who knew? Next, I have some books that I bought to kind of fill in my YA horror section. These are ones that I had read and really wanted to own because I just loved them so much. I'm gonna kind of speed through them. The first one was My Dearest Darkest by Kayla Cottingham. This is one of my favorite YA horrors ever. It's very dark academia, very Heathers, Bunny-esque. I won't say it's like totally bunny. It's not like as weird as Bunny, but there are some like fantastical things that happen in here that are a little bit unexpected, which I really appreciate. But it's very like Craft and Heathers, Wilder Girls, that kind of thing, and I loved it. Plus, I just love me a dark academia. You say dark academia and YA horror? Stop it right now. I freaking love it so much. And then I also got her newest release, which is This Delicious Death. This was so fun. I was not expecting to love this as much as I did. I also am a little afraid because I have recommended this to people and I'm afraid they're not gonna like it as much as I do, but I had a great time while reading this. This is a YA horror that explores the world of cannibalism a little bit, zombies, and takes place at a music festival. It's the perfect summer read. I just loved it so much, and I love Kayla Cottingham's writing. I cannot wait to see what she comes out with next. And then I picked up a copy of Sawkill Girls by Claire Legrand. This was actually a reread for me, so I read it and I didn't really like it at the time. And I was like, there's something I'm missing here because I have seen this going around. It is so well loved, so I decided to pick up a copy and give it another chance. And I'm so glad I did because it was 5 stars on the reread. I don't know what I was thinking the first time. This is like take all of your favorite female characters from Stranger Things, put them on an island, and have them go at it with an entity and like island folklore. It's so good, and it's queer, so you just can't beat it. It is amazing, and I'm so happy that I reread it, and I would highly recommend it. And then we have None Shall Sleep by Ellie Marney. This was recommended to me by Kendall from Bookphoria. Man, I get so many recommendations from Kendall, and I just love it. Like, keep them coming. Keep them coming. This is a YA thriller that gives Criminal Minds vibes, and the second I heard that, I knew immediately I needed to read it, and I didn't care. I knew that I needed to own it. You say Criminal Minds and I'm showing up. That is like top tier, one of my favorite TV shows. I have rewatched it more times than I can count. What does that say about me? I do not know. But I'm not mad about it. I don't judge myself for it, and like, you shouldn't either, okay? Okay, it's a fantabulous show. And the character growth and the family, oh, it's like found family. You guys know I'm a sucker. But like, criminal? Yes, absolutely. Anyways, this is great. If you like Criminal Minds, you are going to enjoy this. If you don't like Criminal Minds and like the talk about behavioral analysis and going into like a deep dive of like the FBI and that kind of thing, you probably won't enjoy this, just as a warning. But if you do enjoy that, then you will enjoy this. And it's YA, it's fun, it's a good time. There's actually a lot of nods to Criminal Minds in here that I picked up on, which I don't know were necessarily like super intentional. I'm assuming so, but regardless, it was great and I had a fabulous time. Speaking of Criminal Minds, there's also a series that has a new special place in my heart. I enjoyed this series more than I enjoyed this, just as like a warning, which is saying something because I really enjoyed that book. And that is the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Yes, I bought the entire series. Okay, what do you want me to say? I went out one day and I bought this one because I heard about it. I actually bought these both at the same time, and I was like, we're just gonna do like a battle of the Criminal Minds YA. Like, why not? Instantly fell in love. Oh my goodness. Something about Jennifer Lynn Barnes' writing. This is like YA Criminal Minds, but also make it inheritance games. A perfect combination, if you ask me. Very much gives, like, obviously, like I said, Criminal Minds, where you have like the behavior analysis and the FBI and all of that. There's also a bit of a inheritance games love triangle going on, which is just a Jennifer Lynn Barnes thing. So at this point, like, are we surprised? No. Some people might enjoy it, some people might hate it. I'm on the I enjoyed it side because it wasn't too much. Like, it irons itself out pretty quickly, so it's not like in the forefront. Really, it's more about this group of teens and the behavioral analysis and the Criminal Minds of it all. So I really enjoyed that. There's also just like, if you enjoy puzzles and figuring things out, this series is absolutely incredible. I loved them all. I would say, I can't remember exactly my ratings of them all. First one was 5 stars. I think these two were 4s and this was a 5, but I could be completely wrong. Overall, I give the series a 5. I loved it. I loved it so much. But again, if you don't enjoy Criminal Minds or like anything having to do with like the FBI and all of that, you probably won't enjoy these. So take my recommendation with a grain of salt. And then lastly, the last book in this haul is another Jennifer Lynn Barnes, because you all know I'm a YA gal, okay? I don't know what you want me to say, and that is The Brothers Hawthorne. I did not enjoy this as much as I thought I was going to, I will say. I really did it. I liked being back in this world and with these characters again, but there was just something about this that just felt kind of unnecessary. My favorite part of this was actually the bonus chapter at the end. So I don't know what that says. I do know that there is going to be another one. Will I read it? Yes. Will I buy it? I'm not sure, if I'm being honest. I do love the idea of like owning them all, but I don't know. Depends upon how long she plans on going with this, because this one, like I said, just felt a little unnecessary. Like, I still gave it, I think it was like a 3.5, which is still good. It's just not like a favorite. I definitely enjoyed like the base Inheritance Games series way more than I did enjoy this. And I don't know if it was just because we were lacking all of those those other supporting characters as well, because in here we are just following Grayson and Jameson. We get nods to the other one, like we get Xander a little bit, we get Nash a little bit, we get Avery a tiny bit, and that kind of thing. So it's really just about Jameson, Grayson after like the inheritance games takes place, and following them as they're trying to solve some puzzles in their own life. And like, I just think it was lacking the overall support of the other characters. That's just my opinion. Maybe someone else will have a different opinion. So I definitely think, like, if you like the Inheritance game series, I would consider checking it out. But do I think it was necessary to own it? Well, you know, I do think it's gorgeous. I will say that. I enjoy the cover. I enjoy the purple, but I don't know if I will continue owning the rest of the series. That's to figure out at a later date. And that is all of the books that I have, which is plenty, okay? Plenty. Is this as big as some people's book hauls? Not necessarily. But this is a big one for me, like I said, as someone who's trying to not buy every single book and just buy ones that like I really enjoyed and love and that I could see myself rereading or anything like that. I really truly believe in the power of the library and like supporting your local library. They do so much. So if you don't have a library card right now, you can so easily get one online. Even just if you use it for Libby, like Libby is an amazing resource for audiobooks. I'm just throwing that out there. Anyways, even if you just use it for that, it's 100% worth it. But I have saved so much money this year, and I'm so happy that like I look at my shelves and I know it's books that I love, and that just makes me so happy. So anyways, that is all that I have for you today. That is my massive book haul. If you saw some of your faves in here, definitely let me know in the comments. And I would love to know in the comments like what your process is for buying books right now. Like, are you of the same mind of like using the library first and then buying? Do you just like going into the bookstore and like buying whatever speaks to you that day? Like, let me know what you do in the comments. I just love this conversation because I feel like everyone has a different process to like expanding their collection. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but that's just what I do. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe if you are not already. Turn on the bell so you never miss a video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!
You and I, the future